where they're not legally, there's no nation on the earth that will recognize them because they're no longer part of the human family. Not only they're not a part of the human family, they're transacting business in another man's name. I'm Smith Johnson. Oh, all right. Dishonor. They have no right to property. They have no right to ownership. They have no right to rights. King Alfred, Records 84 plan, the Buck Act. Y'all go look up the Buck Act, and you'll see a lot of your false taxation and stuff that's going on. We ain't even talking about the IRS, the Inquisition records yet, but you gotta make the tree bigger. That'd be in here too, because that was set up in 1913. The Internal Revenue Service, what y'all don't know, write this down right now, because this is also part of your legal argument when you're countering, if you're in your proper person. The Internal Revenue Service is really the Inquisition Revenue Services under the Secret Treaty of Rome. Are we clear? The Internal Revenue Services, the IRS, is really the Inquisition Revenue Services for Torquemada. That's collecting tithes by force by the popes of Rome. And it was in Woodrow Wilson in 1913 as a countermeasure to Noble Raleigh's restoration of the estate of the Moors, as a countermeasure. And then the Federal Reserve was set up to transact all that business. And then the Treaty of Verona is used to do the 60-40 split between England and the popes of Rome, which is your 1040 form tribute to England. That's how that works. Are we clear? So you must understand politically how these things work together. The King Alfred plan is their plan on cooking you so that you don't get the estate. Are we clear? As a matter of fact, the intention is to use vaporization techniques and they measure principles of the technology that's going to be used for extermination based on some other people that was claiming to be somebody that they're not during the Second World War. Somebody claiming to be Jews or not Jews. And they start killing them off. They're going to kill these people off claiming to be, they don't want to be Moors. They think they're human beings with crayons. They're really going to be black. It's called ashes. And that's what King Alfred is for. That's a military plan. Executive Order 11490. And the additions to that is the Rex 84 plan, strategies and technologies. And this is where all your prisons have been turned into concentration camps. Are we clear? This is why as soon as they get you in them houses, ashes. And that's what King Alfred is for. To transact all that business. And then the Treaty of Verona is used to do the 60-40 split between England and the popes of Rome, which is your 1040 form tribute to England. That's how that works. Are we clear? So you must understand politically how these things work together. The King Alfred plan is their plan on cooking you so that you don't get the estate. Are we clear? As a matter of fact, the intention is to use vaporization technique. Principles of the technology that's going to be used for extermination based on some other people that was claiming to be somebody that they're not during the Second World War. Somebody claiming to be Jews or not Jews. And they start killing them off. They're going to kill these people off claiming to be, they don't want to be Moors. They think they're human beings with crayons. They're really going to be black. It's called ashes. And that's what King Alfred is for. That's a military plan. Executive Order 11490. And the additions to that is the Rex 84 plan, strategies and technologies. And this is where all your prisons have been turned into concentration camps. Are we clear? This is why as soon as they get you in them houses, the first thing the vampires do is take a vial of blood. Two things that they do. They take the vial of blood to study you, but they also use those needles to plant in so many percentages of the people retroviruses that they call HIV. Yes, they have contaminated needles. Because in many instances, they don't really want the blood, they just want to stick it. Because once they hit the crystal screen, all they have to do is have nanoviruses on the needles. And this is what they've been doing in Africa and here.
Well, let's vaccine your children. They got lethal doses.
And they start making up all kinds of acronyms into concentration camps. Are we clear? This is why as soon as they get you in them houses, the first thing the vampires do is take a vial of blood. Two things that they do. They take a vial of blood to study you, but they also use those needles to plant in so many percentages of the people retroviruses that they call HIV. Yes, they have contaminated needles. Because in many instances, they don't really want the blood, they just want to stick it. Because once they hit the crystal screen, all they have to do is have nanoviruses on the needles. And this is what they've been doing in Africa and here.
Well, let's vaccine your children. They got lethal doses.
To the state that they keep saying that they're not a part of. Because they're authorized by the state for that certificate because they get kickbacks for it. They file it in the Department of Commerce, they file it in the Department of Orphans, and it makes all children not descendable. They're automatically wards of the state. And then it's just as cetology comes in at that point. And this is why whenever there's any transfer of a state amongst our people, immediately you get letters or somebody will visit your door from probate. All your stuff automatically goes into probate. Write that down so you can do some research. That's again why you nationalize. You see the point? Aren't we? See, so instead of just knowing what's going on, you need to know what's going on, what you need to do to counter Rome. But keep in mind, all of these things come from the honor of your mothers and fathers. Therefore, you must turn your hearts back to your mothers and fathers and take on the titles, the noble titles of your mothers and fathers. You see the point?
How do you get control of all of those things?
You first, don't worry about that. Now pay attention to this. Write this down, you all. Status equals estate. The point that I'm making to you is this. When we change our state of mind, how we think, the atmosphere will change. When we adjust to this honor without our minds on material goods, the goods will come with it. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all those things will be added unto you. You seek those things first, you lose them. Because Rome has set up a death machine to make sure it's not returned to you. Our greatest strength is in us changing our state of mind. When you change your state of mind, you will change the atmosphere. All of that stuff will come by default because you're the heir of the estate. Our problem is that we don't recognize our heirship. And we are in dishonor of the capacity to claim heirship. Are we clear? Just like what SetenRa was saying earlier with the brother. He don't know that he's prepared for food. But I guarantee you, he and others just like him, not wish him well. When the pain, when that woman starts pulling us pain on him, you might be knocking on your door to block one. He said, remember what you just told me come on? No, because pain, the great teacher is pain. Our people are going to get this one way or another. Or they ain't going to be here. But one thing for sure, Rome ain't giving up this boat. Just because you're making a moral argument. He's going to be back to the wall before he gives up.
There is no history where Rome is not the
That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. Why do you think Rome, why do you think when he went to Persia, the first thing they did was raid the museums? First thing they did was that was planned. Why do you think when the Romans came to the Atlantis Islands that they wiped the islands out? What people call Boriquín, what they call Puerto Rico today, and some of the surrounding islands, they wiped them out. And they had to bring Moors from the other areas and from up here to repopulate the islands just so they could get the sugarcane and stuff like that. And then they took the young girls as sex slaves for the priesthood of the church. This is why a lot of our Borican brothers and sisters are lighter, but they're still Moors. They'll tell you they're Moors. It's our people here that sleep up in this area that think human beings are crayons. We're the problem because we're the firstborn, and yet we're the deadest in the mind. We have access to a lot of things that our other brothers don't have access to, but we're the deadest in the mind, and we're the most dangerous to the rest of the civilized world. The only ones we're not dangerous to is the Romans, because he's what is referred to in the world as the Negro God. People won't buy, they won't sell, they won't breathe without a license from their God, who they insist on calling the Great White Father. And they get mad because they act like God when they declared him God. Islam, brother.
Islam. I just want to give a quick perspective, if you don't mind, Brother Tarik. From the group in the front, they seem to be coming more so from a Christian perspective, and there's nothing wrong with that. What I mean by that is this. If you're in a situation now when knowledge comes, you have to get up where you're at. Does that make sense? Because you fell. The best way I'll say it is that I spent some years in that Christian indoctrination. I'm also from Jamaica. So I see from both sides of the perspective. And with all due respect, the picture that you have to put in your mind if you've been influenced by Christianity is this. It's the story of the prodigal son. The story of the prodigal son is a code. It's you. The prodigal son is mother and son. So more so seeing returning to a father, papacy, hope. You got to return it to your mother. Does that make sense? Yes. The baby's only concern is that breast. And he or she just take access to the breast. Period. It's the same way when your knowledge and information come back to you. You have to literally can't see, how do I now go drive the car, when in fact you don't even know what the key is. You're gonna hurt somebody. So the first thing is, the prodigal son had to come to his senses. Here's an individual that was born a prince, for lack of a better word. He then, in arrogance, asked for his birthright, i.e. his lineage. Before time, he was not ready yet. So what did it do? All the things that was inside of him, i.e. his lower self, forced him away from his heritage, where he went to a land and experienced an artifice that was far off. So if you go to a place far off that was not known by your ancient ancestors, he went and he squandered his wealth on what? Wild living. He had no character. We're supposed to be taught character, i.e. principles, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You have to have love, to know the truth so you can have freedom. You understand? Peace, freedom, so you can now have justice, i.e. the balance. So he went to this place that was far off. He longed to eat pig food. Think about that. Pig is symbolic in most so-called religion as what? Unclean. So the nature of man is supposed to be what? Clean. Here you're in a state of disgrace, lack of honor, dishonor. You're not honoring your mothers and forefathers. Make sense? So the truth of the matter is now, individuals came in and saw, oh snap. They're not honoring their stuff. They don't know to use their stuff. I know how to drive. You want to get to the airport? Pay me. It's your car. Pay me. So now you're figuring, hey, this guy don't take it to the airport, but the airport is taking you to a place that you don't even know. Today we're in Iraq, so-called Iraq, right? What's happened to Iraq is what happened here. And that's another way you have to see it. Imagine Iraqi calling himself something other than the nation of Iraq. You understand? And those now who went in, the biggest embassy on the planet is built where? In Iraq today. So the Albion, i.e. the European, is about to do the same thing in Iraq that he did right here. Because that's the new game for him. And who set up for him? The Vietnam talking, I'm a vet, on a wheelchair, can't move, can't do nothing, you know what I'm saying? In a wheelchair, took his legs. And if you don't wake up, everything the brother's saying on the planet, on the board is real. I came to my own you, and you had no cognizance. Because guess what? Every time you look at that dollar bill, he put your head, your consciousness, and your base separated. And you can get no illumination. And as long as you circulate that currency, that false energy, which is not the moon energy of the four quarters, to give you one, the union with your mother, the movement upon the 4 times 7 every 28 days, i.e. her period. If she don't put her period sign of nature on you, you're dead. Make sense?
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is you can't go home, so the problem came to his senses. If you come here today, you've not fallen to the bottomless pit, while the brother now told you you've been pulled into the pit of what? The state of fraudhood. They don't shake you upside down, take all your pennies, and let send you back to your parent, broke. But it said, look, I'll be better off being treated as a servant among my father. That for me to be here hungry, I don't have no food, like you said, 3 weeks out, you can't so-called work, have a JOB, jokes over broke. Lost everything. So the truth is, everything happened in cycle for us. And if you think it's the law of linear time, which he now brought you in, which is a fraud, it's a fraud. Time is not law linear, measurement between 2 points. Time is cycles 4 times 7, 28 days. 13 moon cycles over what? 365 days. Make sense? So that's the true time. It says the ancestral will trade time in season. So in other words, you now so think December is the end of what? The calendar year. Look outside. Do you see trees on the leaves? So spring is when you see trees on the leaves. That's Mother Nature teaching you. But if a fraud teach you to get you prepared, so what he use spring to extract your energy to give 60% to what? The Jesuits, and another 40% to who?
England.
And he's using the energy of the cycle of spring, April Fools, April 15th. So he said, let's get right there using what? Astrology and cosmology. While you the fool,
Your own stuff.
your own stuff. Look at all the logos of all the various different buildings. Holiday Inn, they're using the sun energy, Horus rising.
Yes.
So they will rise in the sun. They put all the energy into the corporation in the dead corpse. But while you now go and use stuff that have no energy, and you wonder why you died. Why at the bottom of the pit? Why there's no light? Because light is illumination. So when you come to common law, i.e. common sense, you said one thing, I will return. The word return goes back to the 180 degree, going back to mathematics, i.e. going back to what? The path, which is pata. He cooked pata. The Coptic cross, he cooked pata. So pata in Kabbalah is numbers. If it has the same letters in it, it adds up to the same thing. So pata and path is the same thing. P-T-A-H and P-A-T-H is the same thing. Make sense? So when you now turn 180 degrees on your path, man, I was doing evil, so now I need to live. E-V-I-L backwards. I need to live. Make sense? You turn around. Is it that simple? 180 degrees. 1 and 8 is 9. So you return to who? Your mother. Because it took you 9 moon cycles to come out of her womb. Make sense? Yeah. So now that you stand on the 9, 6 upside down, the highest number of the physical plane of manifestation is 6. I.e. on the 6th day, manifestation happened in perfection. So they now call it a trick of the 666, the mark of the beast. Yes! As you're now being who you are in the east, the beast, you're still the perfect form in manifestation, i.e. the nomad. So now you need the spirit to rest upon you. The spirit of the mother called Eve on the 7th day, conceiving. Did you hear Eve's name right there? 7. Don't look at the S, don't look at the N. So think of the number 7, you have the woman essence resting upon you. So now when you return to your father, the ancient ancestral, i.e. the Moabite, i.e. Ruth, put the T back in front of it when you have truth. So now that you deal with the truth of the ancient ancestral lineage, and you can now stand up a bit, shallow grade, stand up, inner over, understand, you get it? Stand in that law, which is status. So now you know your status. Say, Daddy, Mommy, can I just work for you? I just want to work for you. Oh, I can do it. Got to do the toilet. Well, guess what? You want among your own. Do you think she will forgive you? Answer is yes. So when you sort of understand that the two most powerful words in the English language is yes and no. But unfortunately, we say yes to the wrong things and we say no to the wrong things. Just like what you should be saying yes to, you say no to. What you should be saying no to, you should say yes to. To be or not to be, that's the question. So with that, Brother Tarik, stand
Right on, brother. Rahsmariah, Publications.com is in the house. Took a second. Give us some measurements for today.
Well, actually, you know what?
You didn't like. Don't start singing it.
We were Islam. Peace and love to all. It's beautiful to see everyone. You want to know what's up with the planets? Can you come out? You gotta give me a second. Come
Well, we always got some news. Give us some news.
all right, here's my news.
You know what?
Whatever you do, people, my people, please heed the fact that you are the Aboriginal indigenous sovereigns of this land. Do not get a birth certificate. Do not get any of those things. Do not get your children from here down this way, young everyone. Don't do it. Don't subscribe to the to the corporate state's jurisdiction at all. They are criminals, they are liars, they are thieves, and they are absolutely, if you don't believe anything else is going on today, tomorrow, yesterday, or anything you've ever heard before, they are absolutely utilizing each body, each divine being, which is what we are, even though we may not have recognized it yet, which is what the problem is. They're utilizing you for human trafficking. Period. That's what they're doing. So what we have to do is recognize that this is our land, our ancestral estate, excuse me, because you don't own it. It's our ancestral estate, our national domicile, and therefore, we are obviously, clearly the sovereigns of this land. Is everybody following what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay? Because the truth of the matter is this. If you've already, like all of us, most all of us, tied in due to lack of knowledge, you may be having a hard time trying to struggle to get out of it. But you have to save the children. Because this is for the young and yet unborn, meaning unborn in the mind and unborn from the womb. Which is like the brother was saying, what the mother produces. This is extremely, extremely serious because they use our energy to create their reality.
Yes.
Do you understand it? Does anybody not understand it? They use our energy to create their reality. And because we are unlearned, unknown, don't know who we are, they are driving, if you will, your energy to where they want it to be on this planet Earth.
Yes.
Do you get that?
Yes.
Do you really get that?
Yes.
All right. Because all of this really coming up could be changed, could be changed overnight if the people, our people, we would know this stuff. Immediately it could change. But so we're all sitting in this room, but no. But you walk outside and your brethren's right there. And you say, listen, we're the sovereigns, we're the nest, this is our place. And you make your stand, right? You make your stand. Your status is your standing in the community. That's what status means. So in case you're wondering, well, what does that mean? It means, status means, who are you? What is your standing in the community? That's what status means. So you make that, and your brethren on the other side, he's going to deny you. So he has to be taught. So the beginning, where did he begin? And I want to say this, where do you begin? Because, for instance, there's some sisters, mothers, families that are taking their children out of school and homeschooling them, correct? Now, I know this for a fact in Texas. I don't know, you can attest somewhere else. What they're doing now, because of those people who took their children out of school, that was just the beginning of the iceberg. They still have not claimed their status, which is their relationship to the community. So what they're doing is saying, well, wait a minute. We're going to test you, parent, to see if you are qualified to teach your own children. And if you're not, no, you can't take your children out of homeschooling, because in the end, if you took them out, you're still using the state the state qualifications in order for them to pass while you're teaching it at home. Well, you missed the point. But the other point is that they're saying, since you haven't claimed your status, and you took the children out and you're still awarded the state yourself, we're going to test you and tell you, no, you can see you can pass the test. So it's not just about taking the children out of the corporate state education system. That's not enough. That's not it. It's about doing your own. Now, you say, well, how do I know? Well, you go to classes like this, you go on the internet, you read, whatever like that, because it's already inside the children anyway, if you would just let them be. They already know. Anyway, so it's important, but I want to say, they're thieves. They're liars. Do try to do whatever you can to disconnect yourself and definitely your children from being under the corporate jurisdiction. I can keep it simple. What am I going to do? Well, I'm not going to work a job. I want to say this. There's only two things in this whole world that you can buy or sell. Two. Does anybody know what they are? Okay. You can only sell a product or a service. There's nothing else you can sell. If you can't name it right now, you can't, because it doesn't exist. You're going to sell a product. What I mean by product? This piece of paper, this pen. This is a product. Can I see your pen? This is a product. It's called a pen. This is a product. It's called a mic. You're going to sell a product, or you're going to sell a service. I do the service of hair. I do the service of lawn. I do the service of massage. Whatever it may be. That's all that you're going to sell. And here's what you got to ask yourself. You're either going to sell the product or the service for someone else, or you're going to sell the product or the service for yourself. And as the servant, you don't need permission to do that. So what they've done, move your mind to a lower place, is that if you go and you do your own stuff, right, then besides wanting to tax you and license you, they tell you it's hustling. You're the original merchants on the planet. The original merchants on the planet. And they're telling you that when you go to do your thing of selling, you're hustling. To put a negative on it. And you need to go get a license from us in order to do so. So we looked up the definition of license. I just gotta do this. I gotta do this. Because people are going into courtrooms now. And let me just say something about courtrooms. This is important. Because of the consciousness we have raised, what do you think? That they're not stepping up their game? They told us the other day in the court, we asked them to show the rule, my son did. They said, well, it's a black, what was it, a black letter law. Listen up, people. We're in the court. It had to do with them returning the ballot. They said, well, it's black letter law. Did you hear what they said? Black letter law. Let's equate it to black Christian codes, which were assumed and operated but not law. That's what they're saying. And you know what they're saying to us? Screw you, what you gonna do? Because what you gonna do, because we're doing what we've been doing all the time, and as you get to do what you're doing because you just read and found out, and you have this consciousness, you're gonna come before us, and we're losing finance every week, every month, because of your consciousness. What do you want us to do? We are losing. We can't send our children to college because you became conscious of who you are, that we're stealing and robbing your liberties. So you think we really want to answer? Now let me give you another thing. A few years back, they did respond. I personally know I had the prime minister carefully. You are not an American citizen. If you are not an American citizen, this is in the municipal court, and you're caught driving without a license, you will be deported. Hear me? To where is a good question, I'm going to tell you. We're home, but we're not claiming that we're an American citizen. See, if you're not in the Western, we ain't got nothing to do with America, this, whatever. No, United States of America was established under the American land. The United States of America, the corporation that brings the Europeans in. You're not a citizen of that. The jurisdiction issues are what our problem is in that respect. Because you have to have the right word. Jurisdiction means right word. We got right words in the wrong place, wrong words in the right place. That's our problem. Because first there was the what? Word. We have been speaking wrong words. Right? So I want to say this. It's because I heard the brother talking about, I had someone say, they emailed me because they're doing an exorcism, you know, because before you can get this information and wear it well, you must have the exorcism back. And then you can get the baptism of the pure information through the waters of knowledge, which really comes through the womb, all right, in the first place. That's why women have to get this. Yeah. She is it. She brings the children in, and if she doesn't know, then she suppresses what they might know. So he says, oh, you just want me, this is all email. I can text it. You just want me to join my tribe. Because people get things misconstrued. They think that a tribal name, quote, or Indian name, quote, is a nation. And that the tribal is a family. Tribal, quote unquote, Indian names, so-called, are family appellations. That's what they are under the nation. So he says, because I remember talking to this conversation before, that tribes make up nations. Oh, no, they don't. Let me tell you why. Because let's do this. You're tribe A, and you're over here with your family, and you're tribe whatever B, and you're over there with your family. But excuse me, when you were birthed from your mother's womb, which is the nation, without a name, you were already born into the nation. Get that straight. So don't think that your tribal family name is going to go search and see what nation I'm going to be with. You were born without a name, unnamed, into the nation, out of your mother's womb, which is where the nation is. That's right. That's what is missing from a lot of this information. Mother, how you got here. And the fact that every daughter in here is born with enough eggs in their womb to create another nation if she wanted to. That's how the thing goes down. So you're missing that part. So now you think that you just got a breath of life. And they're standing there and got a family trying to name attached to you, and you're going to go find out what name you're going to be in. Well, if you do that, okay, what nation are you going to go naturalize into somebody else's nation? Well, on this land ain't nothing going down but the Moorish nation. That's it. It's the seal or the daggone eagle. Now, which one are you under? Because anything else that's created beneath that is beneath that. And that brings me to this. What is the lawless land?
Constitution and treaty.
If the lawless land is the Constitution and treaty, right? Because if it wasn't for the treaty, there'd be no Constitution. The only reason the Constitution was written was to naturalize Europeans. You didn't have that Constitution. It's not even meant for you. Here's what we miss. It is meant for us to enforce it. And we failed to do it. It ain't nothing going down but the Moorish nation. That's it. It's the seal or the daggone eagle. Now, which one are you under? Because anything else that's created beneath that is beneath that. Brings me to this. What is the lawless land?
Constitution and treaty.
If the lawless land is the Constitution and treaty, right? Because if it wasn't for the treaty, there'd be no Constitution. The only reason the Constitution was written You know, we were miseducated. We admit that. So I say that to say this. If you do decide tomorrow to create what you think you're going to create as a nation, a group, a club, a new this or a new that, right ahead. The law of this land is still the Constitution. Period. No matter what you create. And so, to answer some questions that you may have about that, since it seems like the Constitution is not being enforced, the only reason it's not being enforced is because you ain't enforcing it. Do you think Europeans are going to enforce the organic Constitution of 1791 that naturalized them to be here? Don't you recognize that they're the ones who violate that very law? And they don't really want to not violate it because they're scared of you, because the only way that they figure they can control you is in a courtroom. And where is the place that they shall deport you was the question mother you asked. Since this is your home, the only place they're deporting you is to jail. Period. Now, if it was someone else that was in one of these courtrooms and they said, if you are not an American, I'm an American. SetenRa said, he says, oh, no, I'm not a United States citizen. United States is a metaphor. I'm definitely not a citizen of the United States of America, and that's what we got to get over to all our temples. They got to stop doing that shit. They're talking about we're following the laws of the United States of America. Like Prophet Noble Gerald, they brought us our nations down so we could come up under another nation that's inferior. What did they pray? They didn't study. They just didn't study. They really didn't. So I'm not here to, discuss that because it's for all of us. So that's right. So here's the deal. So that's the place they're deporting you to jail. And so now, if you get them, listen, they got a lot of stuff going on. They are really, really using the bodies for trafficking. Even when you get bail, they got these new kind of bails called third-party bail.
Say again?
Third-party bail. I swear to God, I'm not lying. I can get somebody this is truth. So, you put up the bail for your son or whatever it is. You don't have to give us any money. You just have to sign away your house. Now, they was doing that before anyway, but it's serious. A dime has to come up. And you know what? We're going to take the house, and we're also going to take the body, because, this is about human trafficking. It's not about humanity. It's not about any of that. It's about human trafficking. I am a little disturbed about it, aren't you? I am a little disturbed about it because, we all thought, we can stand up on this and we're going to show them that we read and we know this. And you're saying, screw ya. I've been stealing from you. What the heck do you think I'm going to do now? Not steal from you? But it's all good. You just need to follow what I say do. And what I want to do is rob you of your liberties, which starts in the mind, because we are all under a mental slavery. Do not get it confused, because you are free if you're free in your mind. And then you must start being what you know.
That's right.
See, the problem in the Prophet Noble Gerald, oh my goodness, he was the man, he bought it. He said, well, what did he do to start uplifting the Moors? Because remember, he said, you're more descendants of Moroccans born where? Did he say descendants of Moroccans born in the United States? Did he say descendants of Moroccans born in the United States of America? Did he say descendants of Moroccans born as a U.S. national? That's the new thing now. Did he say that? Those are political jurisdictions that are created that you have nothing to do with, and that's what you have to recognize. You are not a U.S. national. In fact, there's no such thing. It's a corporate political jurisdiction that is themed. Because if you're a nation, you got land. If you don't have land, you're not a nation. So people are saying we're a nation and we're going to start this nation. Even in the temples, with all the information they got, chapter 47 describes the landmass, the geography of it. Right here, we're standing on it. What are you waiting for? Where are you going to gain back your heritage and lost the state? Seemingly lost the state because it ain't come nowhere. Where are you going to gain it back? You're standing on it. Where's the land? Where's the seal of the nation? It already exists. It's on that moon. It's already there. We're just not standing under it. And so, Obama stands under the eagle because he's the CEO of the United States of America. So, you think you're going to start something that's going to bring your people out of where the plight they're in, and you think that you don't come up under the law of this land, you are in grave error. If you think you're going to start something and eliminate mother, you're in grave error again. And I have to say, loving all the sons, that has been the indoctrination. And even though you say you're not Christianized, because you read chapter 48, it'll explain to you what that means, because a lot of people now are calling them Cretans. Me and SetenRa had to talk about that. Do you know why they're called Cretans? Anybody? No. See, we say things without knowing. Originally, they were called Cretans because it's skin disease is what it means. Cretan, skin disease, like leprosy, melanoma, whatever you want to call it, the virus is everything. They want to be good Christians from Cretan, not to confuse Christian and Christian Christ-like, which is the Son and the rays, not to confuse that. But they're Cretans, Christians, trying to stand up straight and have a home, and it's yours. That's what they are. This doesn't mean you hate them, because I have to say this after the brother said, you know, what he was saying, and he says, you know, because Mansa Musa, you know, he don't have no Elabay. I said, he's a part of the family. I said, I'm sure Mansa Musa is a family name. Matter of fact, through that amount, it sounds like Mansa is son of man somewhere, or son of the Moose. Mansa Musa? I don't care whether he used and you do history with the L or the Bay or not. If you claim your estate here, what is the title to your estate? It's the L or the Bay, the Al, the Day, and the Ali. They are not last names, they are titles. When they do title searches, that's what they're looking for. So I will say this, and then I'm going to read this statistic. There was a sister who left, I think I said this on the Tuesday show, because someone called in, confused about executor and heir and all that stuff. Yeah. And they said, that I recall this, the sister, her mother, any one of you in here, parent dies or passes form and leaves their property, and you want to get it, and they're going to tell you to sign here and become an administrator. You just gave up your asset.
Yeah.
You just gave up your asset. You're a lineal descendant. You don't need to sign nothing. You see what I'm saying? Because when you sign out with that, you're signing it, here's the key, under their jurisdiction and what they say those things are. So they stole your mom's property, because that's what they were doing anyway. So, right, so if you want to claim it, you got to have the right title. And the title is El Baydael and Ali. That's the title. Period. Yes. That's it. So you have to claim that. You still want to read the ordinance? No? Okay, all right. Real quick. Oh, no wonder. The sun is in Aquarius. Happy solar return to you coming soon. February 14th. How many people have a solar return in February? Aquarius is February the 13th, the line around. See, I don't remember. February 14th. All right, and the moon is in Pisces today, so that means, you know, hidden information and knowledge is exposed. You know, secrets or so-called secrets. I gotta touch something, but I don't know what I gotta touch. Okay, Mercury. Mercury's also in Pisces, so therefore communications and higher learning and teaching is in that energy, and that's the mother energy also. Venus is in Capricorn. So, listen, sons, get it together in the love nature now. I have to refer a son to love divine. Go to the matriarch page. When you think you're hurt by a sister, and you found out that she got 2 or 3 other husbands, and you know about it, and you don't understand how that works. Because women always have more than one husband, and don't mean she have sex with them. So, you know, y'all don't get that. So what you gotta do is, when you're a transpired sister, go to the return to the matriarch page, and read the lesson called on love divine. divine. It is the 6th degree Anna chamber for all sons that Yahshua had to go through. Just read it. It's just do yourself. And Mars is in Libra, balance of actions are dealing with justice right now. Jupiter's in Cancer, rewards should come to all things of home and mother. I'm just doing a brief here. And Saturn is in Scorpio. Please discipline yourself when you're trying to get when you're trying to get revenge on people. Somebody did something wrong to you. Don't try to get them back. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. That's for all you Scorpios in here, because that's your nature. Don't try to get them back. Don't, because you'll be in the way when the avenging angels or angels of light come to get them. You won't be in the way. You're gonna have to learn to forgive, which means forgiveness is for you, not for them. If they never asked you to forgive, if they never saw it, you must forgive and get out the way. Move, get out the way. Because the avenging angels is coming, all right? And so Uranus is in Aries. There's a lot of sporadic information, impulses coming to self-assertions, okay? Neptune is in Pisces once again. There's a high energy of spiritual learning and hidden information, what has been hidden. And listen to this, what's secret is not secret, it's called sacred.
Yes.
It's not secret, it's sacred.
Sacred.
There's a difference. And then we have Pluto in Capricorn. The underlying whole thing for the whole generation, for the next children that are coming out now, guess what it is? About law, order, and governing principles. Peace and love. Thank you. Oh, I have a card. I have a card in the back. I read the books in the back for Sister Fatima, and it's a well-wishing with Mercury comes with wings for healing, and it has on the left side when you sign it. Whoever would like to sign it, because we want to take it to the hospital for her before you leave. All right?
Thank you, guys. See y'all. Remember, part of the culture is you're supposed to always, as the 3 wise men, always check the stars, showing you that's the real culture.
Before SetenRa does this, there is one other thing. I know it's been a long time, but check it out. How many noticed that we put up a page called Canaanland Moors on the website? Yeah. Isn't that inspiring? Let's be truthful. When you was in school, didn't you think everybody in Canada, one of these European French people? Didn't it make you feel like, damn, I'm right there? Right? When they said that to me, and they said, well, I got 53 pictures, pick what you want, you know I had to sit and make a collage so I could leave nobody out. And then I'm doing it, and I realize after I'm done, oh my goodness, who's that sitting front and center? SetenRa! He was there! We just saw it last night.
I went up to, January 12th. I went up to Canaanland, over Deuteronomy Day. So I hung out with all of them up there. And I gotta be honest, y'all, I think I said it a couple weeks ago, I never felt so much love from people I haven't met, in my life. I had just met most of these people. In fact, just about everybody. I only knew Kuja. And one other guy. So everybody else that was there, 40-something, 50 people, man, they embraced me, they hugged me, they thanked me for coming up there, having a good time. So Canaanland was, but one thing I made sure to point out was that Canaanland is still North America.
That's right.
An example, and I'm going to be very quick because I only wanted to say one thing. So the example I gave everybody was this. We're in Philadelphia right now. I said this before in this class. We're in Philadelphia right now. We're in the northwest part of the city. We go up and down Broad Street, we're in North Philly. We go back out to the left and up Boulevard, we're in Northeast Philly. We go out past the airport, now we're in Southwest Philly. The point is, it's still Philly. So it doesn't matter whether we're in North America, Central America, South America, or the adjoining islands, it's America. So keep that in mind. Whatever part of the Caribbean you come from, you're still in America. Anybody is confused about it, research the Organization of American States, the OAS, and find out what are actually American states. Now, what I wanted to say was this.
And before you say that, just about Canaanland, I just want to say, after we put that up and show the unity within the third, we showed the unity and actually you did this, and I didn't know that until I did it. After that, we went into our class and we discussed what they had discussed in their class, and we didn't even talk post on the site are applications that came home in Canaanland yesterday.
All right, now all I want to say is what she just said. So we're talking about the energy that exists amongst us. I haven't talked to Roz this week. I talked to Taj briefly. I haven't talked to this brother over here this week. But when I first came up here, I said to Taj earlier, everything happens for a reason. I told y'all my computer got shot. I didn't have any information to present. Everything that I worked on all week is gone. So I went from the top of the head, and I just talked to y'all, and then Taj talked to you. And then what's your name, brother? Curtis. Brother Curtis talked to y'all, and then Roz talked to y'all. When I came in here, we talked about birth certificates. We talked about taking control of your child. That's when I started talking. We talked about nationality. And then this brother talked about the same thing. And then Roz came up there and talked about the same thing. That computer was supposed to get broken this morning. I'm going to get it fixed. I'm not worried about that. But it was supposed to get, because had I been up here writing all this stuff on the board about my research all week, he may have never come to what he came to. Roz might not have come up here and said what she said. The energy that exists amongst us is beautiful. Understand it and embrace it. We got to stop running from each other. Just like she said, when we go outside, our brothers out there, a lot of times they don't want to hear it. So, say what we say, they don't take it. Sooner or later, that same brother might say, just like the young brother did this morning, he might say, what's that you was talking about? Talk to me a little bit about what you was talking about. All of us here, we got to come to bond. We have that same bond with them out there. They just don't know. They feel it, and they think, it sounds good, but I don't know. I like Jesus. Jesus, my man. That picture we got up there, that's my man. But somewhere inside of him, he knows that what you're saying is right. That's because he hasn't brought it out. He hasn't brought it out. I had a conversation with the young brother right there this morning. His name is Anthony. I just met him. Say hi to him. That young brother, I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but this is his first class. How many times y'all see him leave from where he's sitting? Don't sit right there on the swimming pool. How old are you? 10. I love talking to him more. Ain't nothing against you. But we can get him together. At 10. I just turned 38 last Sunday. If I had got this at 10, I wanted to get back to Angela, let them go ahead and this week going, but what I wanted y'all to understand is the energy. The energy is here. The four of us didn't communicate about what all was talking about here, but we all talked about the same thing. We all said the same thing different. I don't know if all y'all picked up on it. I've been sitting here smiling for the past hour and a half. It's the same message, different color shirt.
Sister Roz remind you all, and Roz.
Yes.
And SetenRa was getting right into it. Here's what she whispered to me. Remind the people that the birth certificate is a human trafficking bond. It is made under color of a fraud. You don't need to mess with it because it's dead ab initio.
All right.
And he was just getting into that.
And he did. It's a void. It's not a
He was getting,
contract.
earlier before y'all came, he was getting into it.
That's unity. Yes.
Now, keep this in mind, you all. This is so that people don't get it twisted. 90% of the people that go to church don't even know that this is the official name of Christianity. But they're going to tell you about their books. They think they're worshiping Jesus and they're worshiping Constantine. This is the official name of Christianity, Niceno-Constantinopolitan Creed. The short form is called the Nicene Creed. That's for the Cretans, what you call the Romans, the ones who murdered all the prophets. That's why they use the prophets' names to hide their dirt. And so the people followed behind the Romans thinking that they were Jesus. And that's the official name of Christianity. Now, keep this in mind. This is also relative to, this is also relative to the state. And the reason this information is given, because we collectively have to gravitate back to being ourselves, knowing ourselves, feeling ourselves. You have to, this got to come out your pores. Read status.
Okay. Status. Standing state or condition. Reynolds versus Pennsylvania Oil Company, 150 CAL 69. That's the statute. The legal relation of individual to the rest of the community. Let me see. Duties, capacities, and capacities which determine a person in a given class. Not temporary in its nature, nor terminable at the mere will of the parties with which third persons and the state are concerned. It also means a state, because it signifies the condition or circumstances in which one stands with regard to his property.
Read that part again.
It also means a state, because it signifies the condition or circumstances in which one stands with regard to his property.
Now, you see the status and the state are equals. So when our people agreed to be called Negro, Black, Colored, and all these brand names, they neutralized their legal status. But what they did not understand, it applies also to their estate. You see? So if your status is dead, you have no right or claim to estate. Again, now you understand politically why you must now realize how it works in law. It's not just a correction of historical and political fact and moral reattachment to your blood.